Before saying this, I'll have you know that I too am an atheist and have no theological vendetta against this man. Sam Harris is a sophomoric pseudo-intellectual who makes provocative claims he fails to back up for the purpose of selling books. One of the most egregious of such cash grabs was The Moral Landscape, which claims to lay the foundation for objective morality. In this video, I'll explain why just the term objective morality makes about as much sense as objective taste. Sam's claim is that moral questions are ones concerned with the well-being of conscious creatures. Actions that lead to a greater net well-being, asserts Sam, are ones we generally agree are morally better. His attempt to back up this claim falls into trivial extremes. We'd all agree that a universe that has joy is better than one where everyone's constantly suffering, wouldn't we? Well, one, not necessarily, and two, even if that was the case, how would that make it objective? A large number of people having the same desire doesn't turn it from opinion into fact. If 100% of the world's population said the taste of chocolate is superior to that of strawberry, it wouldn't make the claim chocolate tastes better than strawberry a fact. It's still a mere preference, just a widely held one. The subjective doesn't become objective by way of popular vote. This is what failing to bridge the gap from is to ought sounds like. Sam has to jump to extremes most would already agree to because he has absolutely no means of handling marginal cases. When pressed on this, he falls back to, I may not know the answer, but that doesn't mean one doesn't exist. Fucking convenient dodge that, because whether he knows the answer isn't the issue. The issue is whether an objective means exists to figure it out. He says, just because I don't know how many grains of sand there are, doesn't mean there isn't a numerical answer. Sure, but we have a means to figure that number out, counting them. How practical such an endeavor actually is beside the point. An objective means exists to reach the answer. This is not true of subjective questions. The reason he has to avoid any marginal cases is that well-being is a subjective and extremely arguable point. When something is objective, we have an inarguable means of measuring it. We measure temperatures with thermometers, distances with rulers, force with scales, time with clocks. What measure could you possibly use to say whether or not one person is of greater well-being than the other? What measuring tool do you jam into a situation to determine how morally good it is? The analogy he loves to throw around when pressed on this is that, sure, well-being is hard to define, but hey, so is health. We all agree that a person with smallpox is less healthy than the same person without smallpox, right? Here, Sam kicks the problem into high grass. This is an equally vague term where, again, he jumps to an extreme because he can't actually address any cases on the margin. A doctor doesn't say, I'm going to increase your health. He says things like, your eyesight is failing, but there exists a drug that could save it. A major side effect of that drug is weakened blood flow to your legs, making you unable to walk. Do you want to take it? Is it in the best interest of your health to take the drug, or not? Who's healthier, the person who can't walk, or the person who can't see? Go on, hypothetical follower of the moral landscape. Give it an answer. I dare you. If health is objective, which it had better be, or acting as an analogy for well-being served no purpose but to push the problem back a step, then prove to me objectively which outcome is healthier and by how much, or at the very least demonstrate to me how you would go about finding both of those things out. Your inability to even begin justifying your answer is evidence this so-called measure is not only not cardinal, it's not even fucking ordinal. How would you measure such a concept as health? What units make it up? What tool do you measure it with? Health is a pointless analogy because it has all the exact same problems well-being had. Let's apply Harris's idea of quote-unquote objective morality to the experience of food preferences, just to see if it can stand up to even the mildest of scrutiny. We all agree pizza is more palatable than dog shit, don't we? Thus, we can lay the foundation for objective taste. But, Mr. Harris, does pizza taste better than cheeseburgers? Some people seem to argue this point, and I can't disprove them. How would we find an answer? And how could we measure it to be sure? Oh shit.